Today, JT and I are talking about one of the best tools that you can have in your training toolkit, and that is soft tissue work. Now, this is something that both JT and I will employ on a regular basis to allow us to get more from both our training in the gym, but also our training on the mats. And if you listen to it, it's also going to help you to extract more from your training as well. Now, there's a couple of things we unpack here. We're going to explain to you why there is a prevailing myth that soft tissue work, i.e. massage, rolling, trigger point work, doesn't actually produce a result. We're going to tell you why that is false and exactly what the result is that you can expect to do. We're also going to tell you about how having this simple toolkit can help you to alleviate potential injuries early in the piece before they become a proper injury that requires money, doctors, and time off the mats. And then we're going to run through what our top 3 spots are each that we find ourselves going back to regularly. And you're going to learn what they are so that hopefully you can use them too. So enjoy the episode. Hopefully this helps you get more from your training. And do me this solid, while you're here, make sure you subscribe and make sure you like, because we know a lot of you watch the show and you enjoy it, but you haven't yet done that. And that just goes a really long way to helping us get the show out there to more good people just like yourself. So I've been having this issue lately, probably for the last couple of months, if I'm honest. It's probably a little bit longer, where I get pins and needles in my arms and then sort of goes down into my hands. Particularly at nighttime.
Sure.
Sort of wakes me up in the middle of the night. It's pretty uncomfortable, but it's not so uncomfortable that I've been bothered to do anything about it. Now, if you followed our Instagram, you might have seen a post from me a couple of years ago where I was talking about how I had these symptoms back in the day,
right,
and went through this whole process of trying to figure out what the was going on. And I was diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome.
Right.
To which the only solution is surgery. So I had a surgery booked in, right? Now, I exhausted every avenue to try and find out what was going on. My very last port of call was surgery, and no one could find a solution for me.
Right.
So I'm like, well, surgery it is, because this shit's like keeping me up at night. Anyway, long story short, found a guy, not a surgeon, who said, I can fix that. Give me 15 minutes.
What?
And the magician, as he's known as in my circle, fixed it, right?
What?
Through aggressive soft tissue work around the elbows and forearms.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's been creeping back in, and it's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years since I've seen him.
Sure.
And I really haven't had to think about it. But it's crept in, and I was like, I need to do something about this. So yesterday at the gym, I spent probably a total of 8 minutes releasing the tissues around the forearm with the barbell, which again, if you follow us on the Instagram, you would have seen that drill where you stack 2 barbells on a rack and use it like a roller.
Yep.
Or like a pasta maker.
I was about to say the pasta maker.
Yeah, you're just squeezing it through. And it just made me think, like, this tissue work is actually a really important tool to have in your kit.
Yes.
And it probably isn't as popular as it should be, because I think most of us benefit from it.
Yeah.
Soft tissue work cops a bit of shit, right?
There's 2 things that have happened conveniently in the last 5 to 8 years. There was like a couple of different like PubMed articles that came out saying, palpation, like massage work, doesn't do shit. And so physiotherapists are like, what? But we've been doing heaps of this massage stuff. Like, yeah, it doesn't change tissue length, doesn't X, Y, Z. But here's the thing. People get it done, they feel better. People get it done, the joint heals quicker. Like, they move better. It's not that palpation doesn't actually help you heal. It does. It's just, in scientific terms, it doesn't do what they thought it did.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it doesn't work. So a bunch of physios are like, well, cool, I don't have to give massages anymore. I ain't doing it. Old rub and tug, I don't have to go there to make my money. Happy days. All right, fair enough.
Just
professional.
Tug and tug.
Tug and tug, yeah.
Second time around's a bit rough. Go on.
And so the same is true. They started, there's a bunch of papers that came out saying, foam rolling, it doesn't change the length of the ITB. It doesn't this, it doesn't that. It only X, Y, Z. And so people really shitting on it. But we know that when people that do a certain amount of self-release, like tissue release work, soft tissue work, that they get improved movement, and this enables them to then do better squats and then better jiu-jitsu. And so they go, oh yeah, but it's just a Band-Aid. But it's like, everyone needs a Band-Aid. Like
everything's like everything's short term.
Yeah. So but it is a process of enabling you to feel better. So why the would we not do it?
I think to the like with everything in the health and fitness realm, once something
Show me the research, Joe.
Well, once
Where's
something
the data?
creeps in as a trend, you then get these people that are all in on that thing, and they're like, that is all you need. So it's kind of like there's those PTs. When you look at the PT sort of
Realm.
cohort in a particular gym, and you'll know the one that's into like the functional training or the one that's into trigger point work.
Yeah.
Because the trigger point one will have all the different tools. They'll be carrying around a big bag full of, and they've got their client doing 6 different types of roll, and you're like, all right, maybe that's going a little bit too far, right? Yeah. But yes, as a tool of like, hey, do this for like 5 or 8 minutes before your session, and then do your session, lift your weights, do the thing. Hugely effective, right?
Massive.
Now, yeah, I don't factor it in anymore. I think I used to do more of it, and then I got to a point where I'm like, I don't really need this. I'm just going to do my training. But like any good tool, it's there sort of on the bench, and when I need it, I'm like, yeah, I'm pulling that shit in off the bench.
Yeah, for sure. Me personally, I feel like many things, once something is a habit, it's kind of in my routine. And so whether it be a certain mobility exercise or a certain stretch or whatever, it becomes more subconscious. And also, let me just put it out there, folks, a lacrosse ball is pretty cheap. You can buy 12 lacrosse balls on Amazon for like, I don't know, $20, $25 max. So even though there's lots of websites out there that are selling one singular massage ball, trigger point ball for $30, you can get a bunch of them. I bought a bunch recently. So I've got one in my training bag, one in the car, or so I kind of don't have an excuse to not do the thing.
Yeah.
And so for me, just a simple massage ball, that's the main thing I use. But yeah, you can use barbells and
and the lacrosse ball, not to be confused with because there's other massage ball like spiky ones and shit.
Sure,
they all suck. At least the ones I've come across. The lacrosse ball's where it's at. It's like dense, hard, heavy, like rubber.
It's got the grippiness.
Yeah, and it like when you get on it, because it has the density, it really presses into you.
Yeah. You get it in your ass.
Yeah.
You won't feel it in your spine.
So tell me then, like in just sort of laying out like our top sort of spots to hit, what are your top spots to hit with that thing?
So for me specifically, the points where I always get tight just through lifestyle and everything else is I will always roll my feet because my calves and ankles has always been a thing for me. Hips and knees pretty good, but so rolling out my feet is a massive unlock when I do ankle mobility and squat work. So rolling out my feet is a big deal. Glutes, always glutes.
You always do glutes?
Always glutes,
like
100%.
Daily or like
whenever I'm
squatting.
Whenever I'm gonna do anything hip derivative, it's got to be glutes.
Yep.
Just because I think a lot of the time for many people, I have found that when people are expressing distress or discomfort in their lower back, they have glutes. It's got to be glutes.
As soon as you hit glutes,
yeah, pretty much. They feel it everywhere. And so for me, it's a really good unlock. The reason why I do it is I've never really, even when I'm super mobile and feeling healthy and not necessarily loaded up, it never gets heaps better.
There's always more that you can squeeze
from that zone. And then the third thing is pecs. Through pec minor, pec major, because even though, don't get me wrong, thoracic extension is a great thing, I always find it's not like, I've got a huge chest or I'm doing heaps of bench, but I do occasionally. I always get tight through the front. And that is the biggest limiting factor on my overhead position, my squat position.
Yeah.
Like the thing that really stops my thoracic extension is pecs being tight.
Right.
And every time I do it, I'm always like, oh my God, this is killing me.
So you do lacrosse ball on the ground, lying on it, and then
No, I actually do it usually in a doorway.
Yeah.
So
when you can go past it a bit.
Yeah, so that way you actually stand in the doorway facing the door frame. So your arm can go past the point and your head can go past the point.
Yeah.
And so from there, you can go arm behind, internal rotation, and then you go external rotation and try and reach up.
Yeah, nice.
And
Well, Kelly Starrett would be jizzing his pants right now.
Would love it. Shout out to the big, muscular, fat, bald man.
JT and I got 40 plus years of experience in the gym on the mats, and we came together to build an app that's going to help you get the most out of your jiu-jitsu training. Bulletproof for BJJ App, strength and mobility programs targeting jiu-jitsu specific hotspots. Take a 2-week free trial right now. All you got to do is go to the App Store, search Bulletproof for BJJ, and we'll see you on the inside.
But yeah, it's just like, it's crazy what it does in terms of, as soon as I've done that for like 30 seconds on each side, my overhead position improves dramatically.
Right on.
Right? Like it's bang for buck. I do my hips, now I can squat better. I roll my feet, my ankles start to unlock.
Yeah.
And it's not that it is a cure-all, but it makes my mobility work more effective.
Yeah, and it's a precursor to then doing your movement prep and then your session, right?
All the stuff.
Yeah, and I think this is the big one for like the real big takeaway. Like whatever increases blood flow, brings your attention to the area, makes it feel like just gets that shit moving so that you can then express whatever your baseline range is in your session, so that you can train that session in the most efficient way.
How about you? What would be your top 3?
I often give people the foot one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't do it so much myself, though every time I try it, it's always gross. So I could probably benefit from it. But where I always return to is glutes. Because same thing, every now and again, I get a little lower back flare up, particularly if I'm doing heavy barbell deadlifting. So yeah, glutes and forearms.
Ah, yes.
And barbell is good for the forearms, but I actually think the lacrosse ball is a superior tool.
Against the wall.
Yeah, but I use both because I can't actually apply enough pressure with the lacrosse. Like I need to inflict more pain on myself, but my nervous system won't allow me.
Don't do it, Joe.
Whereas with the barbell, because it's heavy, I can kind of just hang on it and it's really gnarly.
Yeah.
But I can do it to myself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I really like the lacrosse ball as a tool for that. There was a period there when I used to get like shoulder. It would often come after attacking arm triangles on people.
Oh.
Yeah, like just that squeeze where you really and you're often really elevating your shoulder as you squeeze, and I might get the tap, I might not, but I'd end up with this like shoulder, neck, and it was rotator cuff.
Right.
So if I was ever lucky enough to be able to go to my osteo or physio or whatever, they could just get in and find the muscle of the rotator cuff and usually massage that shit for a couple of minutes and I'm good. But I found lacrosse ball was my solution when I couldn't, and it always took me a while to find it. And then once I was on it, I could just lie on the ground on my back, hit the spot, and then just take my shoulder through some rotation. And that would go a long way.
Wow.
So yeah, like 5 minutes thereabouts of this shit goes such a long way. A last one that I don't do, but I know for for people who are super tight and move like shit coming into the gym, whether it's a foam roller or a PVC pipe or a steel water bottle, is beating up the thighs.
The quads.
ITB, quad, hip flexors, 5 minutes before your lower body session goes a long way.
It goes a huge way. And so this is a very crude analogy that was given to me. So don't totally destroy me in the comment section, my scientific friends. I mean, you can, but I don't give a but I just thought I'd pre-frame it because this is not really exactly how it works, but it is a good way to think about it. It helps you understand it. If we think of fascia, like the tissues that surround our muscles and form these slings and elastic kind of mechanisms in the body, fascia can be tight. So for any of you out there of our meat-eating friends who eat steak, when you get gristle on steak, that is fascia, right? And so fascia can be gristly. It can be just hard and stiff. But when you have adrenaline and you have heat and you have movement, it can be like chewing gum. It can be super elastic and stretchy and dynamic. And that's mainly why jiu-jitsu folks feel like shit before warm-up, because all their connective tissues are stiff and tight. But once that adrenaline hits, whoa, magic, baby, I'm working. Here's the thing. This is my problem with most people's warm-ups. They're just trying to elevate their body temperature to get the adrenaline to then get that elastic effect. But oftentimes when people are warming up, they do stuff which might tighten up themselves. Like, for example, like skipping for 15 minutes. That is not going to help you squat better. Like that's the wrong thing to do. That is going to make your Achilles tighter, ankles tighter. Like it will not help you squat better. So if your goal is to squat really well, skipping is not the thing. But what I love about using the ball and doing this massage work, this is like chewing gum. So this is an analogy given to me by an amazing osteopath who's saying, was just basically saying, if you think of the fascia like chewing gum, when you take chewing gum out the packet, if you try and pull on the gum, it will just break. It's just stiff. But if you chew the gum, it will become elastic and move well. So the analogy that was given to me was using the ball and doing this tissue treatment work is like chewing the gum. So now when you come to do any amount of work, the tissues are ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I always keep that in my mind, and that helps me immensely.
Yeah. All right. So then to finish, what are the top tools there? Get yourself a lacrosse ball.
Definitely get a lacrosse ball.
Get something you can roll on.
Yeah, a roller of any description, but preferably something hard.
Yeah. I mean, voodoo flossing, we didn't talk about that, but it's always handy to have one of those bands too.
It is.
We'll cover that another day.
Definitely. And it only takes 5 minutes, like legit.
Yep.
That's all it is. It's literally 30 seconds here, a minute here, a minute there, 3 different spots, and you're good to go. And you identifying the 3 things that you need to work on is also key.
There it is.
Happy days.
Stay limber.
Stay elastic.